My name is Sergey, and I'm working as a lead developer for the past 3 years on Contextual Code, which is Tallahassee, Florida-based company. And mainly, we are using Easy Publish for development. But today, we are going to talk more about Platform.sh and Easy Platform Cloud. Before we will start our workshop, I would like to highlight a few items. First of all, we don't have any presentation, so our workshop would be more practical. There are a few documents you just need to follow. You don't need to type any source code during the workshop. We will just use a Git text. So we will merge the text, we will explain what happens, and that's all. I hope it will help us to stick to the time frame. And it's very, very important for us to get your feedback. So we would like to have two-way conversation. If you don't understand something, or you in doubt, bless you, or you in doubt about something, please don't be ashamed to ask the questions. Because
please,
even if
I was going to say, please interrupt us. Like, raise your hand, scream. If you are confused about something, just say it.
You can drop a bottle or a glass to take our attention. So even if we'll spend all the workshop answering the questions, then you can just follow the document for this workshop at your own, and you will get the same results. And it's the fact I liked very much about the previous workshop, because it was not like other workshops. Because we were discussing a lot of questions. And yesterday, when we were preparing, we were making some final changes in our code repositories and in our repos. Me and Chris, we decided to introduce kind of like small award, which will be sticked especially to this workshop. So the person who will ask the most interesting question, his drink will be on us tonight during the tequila play. So
it's not a competition, but it really is. So try to make your questions good.
And we really understand you are tired because it's the last workshop as we are. So we just want to try to encourage you somehow. The workshop will be, it consists from 3 parts. First part is Platform.sh basics. Second part is Easy Platform Cloud. And the last part is Platform.cc, which is our internal tool for a Platform.sh related local development. We would like to share with you and show how to use that. The thing is that at Contextual Code, we provide top quality solutions for our customers, and we are trying to, actually we do satisfying all their needs. And reliable hosting is one of that main needs. Before we tried a lot of different options for that. And now we need to say that Platform.sh helped us a lot in helping that. So I would like to show you a picture about the infrastructure we've been using before. And I'm pretty sure a lot of you seen it. Maybe some of you are still using it. So, oh, I should press a green one, I guess. Yeah. Yeah. Before we were using Amazon. We had a cluster, and all our projects were hosted there. We were using a lot of different Amazon services, like we were using Elastic Load Balancer, we were using Elastic Computer instances. Also, we were using relational database service, Elastic File System for storage, and so on and so on. And this approach worked for us very well, but it had some main disadvantages. First of all our projects were hosted on this cluster, and it was extremely uneasy to deploy something. We started with some internal, complicated but sophisticated scripts. Then we switched to Ansible, but still, even using Ansible, only selected ones were able to run the deploys. And usually we got a lot of problems. Another disadvantage we had was that it was very, very, very uneasy to maintain this hosting platform. Because when you are installing one package, it might work for some projects well, but on another projects it might cause some issues. Also, each project was not isolated. It means if, for example, if project A causes some issues with database, then the database will die, and it will affect on all other projects. And likewise, there were a couple of single failure points, like when Solar server dies, it will mean that no project can use Solar. And also, it was impossible to limit resources on project base. So, for example, if we want to add some resources for project A, we were not able to do that. We were able just to add resources for all projects. Because of these things, we were looking for different approaches. And at some point, we found Platform.sh, and it looked like it's going to solve our problems. First of all, deploys in Platform.sh are very, very simple. So you just run push to a Git repository, and that's all. Secondly, all the projects are hosted in their own containers. So if something extremely bad happens with project A, you can be sure it will not affect any other project. Yeah, so it's the Platform.sh model for hosting. Also, Platform.sh provides very easy way to manage environments. Before, when our customers asked us to set up, for example, new development or staging environment, we spent an hours for doing that. But in Platform.sh, you can do that in 2 clicks, actually in 1 click. And we will check that out today. Ooh. So we started to use Platform.sh on some small projects, but eventually during the year we moved all our projects there, and we are not using any more Amazon Web Services for hosting. And next, I would like to start with Platform.sh Basics workshop. So is there anybody who haven't followed that steps but want to follow the workshop? I mean, I'm talking about the steps, who haven't made the configuration, who haven't made the things we asked to do yesterday on Slack. And you want to follow the workshop? Because if you don't want to follow workshop, I mean, you want to do the things we are going to show? And you haven't done this. I'm sorry. And it will take about 5 minutes if there is a sense of doing that. Okay. Actually, we asked for a few things. We asked to create a free Platform.sh account. We asked to add new SSH key, and we asked to add that SSH key to, bless you, to your GitLab account. And we asked to make an empty repository and clone it inside your virtual machine. So if you, for those who followed them, you ended up at this page. So right after you register a new account at Platform.sh and create a new free project, you will see this page. And first of all, let's call it And let's pick some fancy name like Easy Summer Camp. On the next page, you would have a few options. Yeah, so you can create a project based on some templates, or you can import your existing code. We should choose second option, which is import your existing code. Now you need to add your SSH key to Platform.sh. And we provided instruction for doing that. Oof. So that's all. On this screen, you have a URL to your Platform.sh Git repository. So each Platform.sh project comes with its own Git repository, but it doesn't mean that you need just to use that one. So you still need to use your own project's repository in conjunction with Platform.sh Git repository. During our workshop, we also will use a third one, Git repository, just to be able to merge text from that repository to our repository. So I have cloned so this is my personal workshop repository. It's absolutely empty. I'm not sure how to do that. Oh. So after we cloned our repository and we created a Platform.sh project, we need to add new Git remote into our local repository for a Platform.sh. And there is a reserved name for that. It should be, the remote name should be platform. But it's not that file I left open. Oh, actually. Yeah. So let's copy this command and run it in our terminal. So now in our local repository we have two remotes, origin and platform. Do you have any questions about that at this stage? No? Now we are going another one remote, just to be able to merge text from there. So now we have three remotes. First one, contextual code. Second one is origin. And the last one is platform. We need to fetch text for a contextual code remote. Here we are. And now, let's talk about so Platform.sh, each time when you are going to deploy to Platform.sh, you need to push changes in your main project repository, which is represented by origin remote in this case. And also you need separately push the changes in Platform.sh repository. Platform.sh provides integrations which could make your life much more easier. And it means that, and if you are using that integrations, it's enough just to push in main repository and the changes will be synced automatically with Platform.sh. But personally, at contextual code, we decided to not use them, right? Because if you're not using them, each time when you are going to push something, you need to push to 2 different repositories, but you have some additional flexibility because you can push something to main repository, but still you cannot deploy that to Platform.sh. Yeah. We are not using integrations, and I mean Git integrations for Platform.sh.
Oh, and GitLab.
GitLab, Bitbucket, and GitHub. Yeah, so they provide integrations for. So you should be aware that there is an option for that, but personally we are not using it.
But that makes life much easier for us.
Not really, because you can have an alias and you can still run one command if you want to push to 2 different repositories. So it doesn't make our life more complicated. It just provides us more flexibility, and that's all. So we want to show you one more message. And in the next few minutes, we are going to make our first push to Platform.sh, and we will get up and running Platform.sh project. So this image represents how Platform.sh is configured, because each time when you are pushing some change to Platform.sh repository, it expects you to provide Platform.sh configuration files. If you don't provide that Platform.sh configuration files, then Platform.sh will reject the push, and you'll be not able to deploy the changes. So there are 3 main components on Platform.sh side. First one is router. Router, it handles all incoming requests, and it sends the requests to the application. Router is using its own router YAML configuration file. Application, it might be easy, it might be PHP, it might be any other language, because Platform.sh currently they support Python, they support Go, and they support a lot of different languages. And also, if I'm not wrong, they're going to support Java soon. So application handles the incoming requests and produce the response to a user. But also application interacts with the different services. In Platform.sh scope, service is things like database, Solr, or Memcache. Platform.sh has a list of predefined services you can use. So let's create let's create our first commit. First of all, we have an empty repository, so we need to create a master branch. And then we need to merge initial tag, which comes from contextual code origin. Move. So now we got some files there, and let's talk about them more. I guess I can do the same. Can you see this editor? Because I'm not sure how can we. I'm sorry? I don't know how to do that. I wish. Yeah. You can open that on your local, I guess. Huh? I can try to open a configuration file, so I'm not sure if you can see that. Barely. At the first rows you can, yeah, you're the most lucky person. I can try. As we talked before, the main configuration file is platform app YAML. And there's a list of minimal required options you need to provide there. First one is name. It defines the application name. Default one is app. And to be honest, I don't see any reasons why you need to change that. So you are fine to use that, or if you want, you can change that. The second required option is type. It specifies the language and the version of the language you are going to use for your project. In our case, it's PHP and it's 7.1. The third required item in that configuration file is disk. It defines the amount of your persistent. It defines the size of your persistent storage. Free Platform.sh accounts, they come with 5 GB disk. So we are going to use all of that 5 GB. That's why we have here 5,120 megabytes. And the last required option is web. In few words, it defines how your application is going to handle or incoming HTTP requests. So in our case, we are saying that all requests should be served by index.php in web folder. And here in web folder, we have that index.php, which is a very simple PHP file, which outputs some string. So another one required configuration file is routes. But unlike platform app YAML file, it's not located in the root directory of the repository. It's located in that platform directory. And it defines routes for a Platform.sh router. In our case, we have two routes. We have first www route, which just forwards request to the application because its type is upstream. So routes could be, there are two possible types for routes, upstream and redirect. First route is an upstream route, which means it forwards requests right to the application. And the second route is a redirect route, which redirects all non-www requests to www. And the last required Platform.sh configuration file is services.yaml. At this point, we are not using any services. We will use them a bit later, but it's required to have that file. So if you're not using any services, you still need to have that file, even if it's empty. So let's try to push these changes. First, we are going to push them to origin, which is our main repository. And now, after they've been pushed, we are going to push them to platform. And here you can see some output from Platform.sh. It provides some basic information about about your application, about the services your application is using, about the routes your application. Oh, so it's manageable, yeah. I'm sorry, you can see fine the terminal, right? So, and it's done. It was done very, very quickly. Let's let's open Platform.sh UI and have a few words about this. So its interface is pretty simple, and in the main blog here, you will see a different, actually all activity messages. There are different type of the messages, like this last one about that something was pushed to a master repository. These system messages about the project was created. On the left side, you can see all the environments you are using. At this point, we have just master environment, but we will going to have more. We just made our first successful deploy, and our application is up and running. To access that application, Platform.sh generates some ugly domain names. And the thing is that in a free version of Platform.sh, you are unable to change that domain names. But you will be able to do that when you switch to a production plans. Let's talk about how can you configure or set the Platform.sh project. So here is a configuration project. Here is a small gear in top left corner. And it's very confusing because there are two configuration pages in Platform.sh interface. First one is the project configuration page, and second one is environment configuration page. When you open personally, when we started to use Platform.sh web interface, we were a bit confused because sometimes you open, you just misclick and open environment configuration page, and you expect to see project configuration page. You really didn't notice any difference between them. So just you need to be aware that there are two configuration pages for environment and for the project. In project configurations, there are a few tabs. First one is user, where you can add and manage the users who have access to your project. Second one is domains, which is disabled because this project is a free one. But we will have a look at that, at domains management thing during Easy Platform Cloud part. Next up is about the certificates. So Platform.sh generates Ssl certificates using Let's Encrypt, but you also can manually upload custom Ssl certificates. The thing is that you are unable to export generated certificates from a Platform.sh project. And for us, at some point, it was a problem because we are using a failover server, and we need to have the same set of certificates on our failover server, and we use different kind tricks to achieve that, but it's a bit more complicated thing, and it's out of the scope for our workshop. Here, another tab is deploy key, and you need to use, so if your project has some submodules which are private, you need to use this key to access that submodules. And the last tab is variables. There are a few types of variables in Platform.sh, and we will talk about them a bit later. So let's try. More people are coming. That's nice. Let's try to open. Oh, so if you try to open a front page, you will see that there are some issues with Ssl certificate. And I was asking Platform.sh guys yesterday about this. The thing is that when you are running deploy to Platform.sh, Platform.sh tries to obtain Ssl certificates from Let's Encrypt. But if Let's Encrypt is slow, in order to speed up the deploy, that SSL certificates validation process is going to put in background. So deploy will ignore that, but SSL keys will be updated in 5 or 10 minutes. And if we'll check the output from our deploy, I'm pretty sure we can find, yeah. So here is the message that Platform.sh was trying to provision a certificate, but next, there are no any successful messages, and here we can see that next attempt will be done at 11:34. It's UTC time. So we just managed to deploy our first project, and I guess it was pretty easy. And maybe somebody has some questions or not. Did you guys manage to fix your remote issue? Yeah. So it works for you now? Yeah, that's fine. So you got successful push, or you got some? Yeah. I'm sorry, so you haven't just one file. There is also hidden .platform directory, which contains some hidden files. Yeah, the thing is that now we are going to talk about Platform.sh basics, and we will talk about Easy Platform Cloud a bit later. So Easy Platform Cloud is easy platform which runs on Platform.sh. But right now we are trying to show some basic Platform.sh concepts. So during this workshop there will be a simple PHP application which runs on Platform.sh. Yeah, that's fine. But I'm just curious if you deployed that to Platform.sh. So you deployed that. Have you tried to deploy that to Platform Origin, to push that to Platform Origin? As I said, my origin was kind of fucked up, so I only just pushed on my phone. Found out that it's not related to my Platform.sh sessions. I see. So. But I'm intending to do it right now because I changed the. So just please let us know if you'll have some problems with that. So we just talked about Platform.sh web interface. But there is another option to manage your project. Platform.sh, they provide command line interface, and it's pretty useful. We are going to install that right now. It will take maybe 15 seconds to install that, and we will show some basics for it. Yesterday we sent a file which has all these code snippets. So you can just go to Platform.sh command line interface, copy this command, and run that in your virtual machine. In my case, command line interface was already installed, but still seems like there was some update because it's still downloading. And have anyone from you guys used command line interface for Platform.sh before? No? Yeah. So, yeah. But I'm pretty sure you haven't used the small secret command we are going to show you now. Yeah. We just need to wait till it will download it. Usually it's much faster. Because it's or uploading probably. Please stop downloading any movies. That's true. But I want to show. No, no, actually, they showed us that command. Is anybody else downloading it right now? And it does it? No, with closed laptop, it's not so easy to download it. And the thing is that we don't have any options. We need to wait till it will be downloaded. Maybe somebody has some questions.
Has anyone used Platform.sh before? I know we have, but first time seeing Platform.sh.
We hope it will be not the last time for you guys. Oh, here we are. It says download was. Let's try one more. Here we are. So the easiest way to check if you have a Platform.sh command line interface is to run this bot parrot.party command, which should output a nice dancing parrot. Amir, have you used that command before? Have you seen? You see? So that's the reason why you are here. Yeah, it's most useful command. The easiest way to get all the available commands is just to run platform list. It will output. There are a bunch of them, but they are pretty intuitive, and it's very easy to understand what each commands do. And the thing is that sometimes you can do everything in using command line interface, but there are things you are not unable to do using web interface. So command line interface provides you much more options, and you need to be aware about that. Usually you need to, each time you need to provide you need to specify two parameters for each platform command. There is environment SSH command, and it has alias SSS. This command allows you to connect to Platform.sh instance. I mean to SSH to this instance. But as all other commands, it expects you to provide two parameters. First one is project ID, and second one is the name of environment. Right now we have just one master environment, but we will have more later on. And the easiest way to get a project ID is just to open web interface, and you can copy it from the URL, or you can get that from a platform remote. Oh. So in this case, this is a project. This is Platform.sh project ID. But the good news are that if you are running this command in a directory for a Platform.sh project, then these two parameters are going to be extracted automatically. For example, we can run Platform.sh and we have some issues. That's strange because we just added our Ssh key. The thing is that right now we have command line interface installed on our local machine, but we haven't provided get correct credentials for, so right now, command line tool doesn't know who we are. And in order to do that, we need to authenticate. We can easily do that by running out command. Oh, it's the wrong terminal. Yeah. But first we need to log out, because I was logged as another user before. Alpha. Login. So now the browser should be open and you need to provide your credentials there. I just need to get my user's email because I was creating a lot of accounts in the last weeks. Says. Let's see if we are logged in as a correct. No. It's because I'm logged in as the previous account I was using for workshop. So we need to log out again. And log in using different browser, which will be Chrome, I guess. So our username is Serhey Web Summer Camp. Aye. Okay, now we should be fine. Now we should be fine to run SSH command. Yeah, and here we are. We are SSH to an instance. So we had to look at web interface, at command line interface. We pushed very simple application. But the thing is that by default, all Platform.sh file system is read-only, and you are not allowed to create any files there. And in some, they say it's a part of, I guess, extra security, and it prevents you from some silly rm-recursive slash. So it might be useful. But all the real-world applications, they require to have writable directories, for example, for logs, for caches, and for things like that. So let's merge the next tag. First of all, we need to log out. And let's check the changes. So the thing was changed is amounts directive, amounts key in main configuration file, which is platform.app.yaml. You can add. So it's the only and the correct way to add writable mounting points to your project. Each mount consists of the name, which in this case is logs, and each mount has two options. First one is source, which is yes. I'm sorry. Comment. Yeah, because I'm pretty unfamiliar with it. We are not using this virtual machine, so we were using that just for a workshop. And is it hard to see that from? Yeah, so we added a new directive, which is this one, and here we have a new mounting point, which name is logs. This name doesn't really matter, and it could be anything. In our case, it matches with source path, but it's not the requirement. Platform.sh documentation recommends you to use the same name as the sources, but it's not obligatory. So each mounting point has two options. First one is source. In this case, it's local, and it's the only available option at Platform.sh for now. Right now, it's impossible to have a mounting point which will be shared between different instances, but they are working on that, and they're going to introduce that soon at some point. So we talked about source and source path. It's the path where that mounting point will be actually mounted. Also, another thing which we changed are these few lines. Basically, we are trying to write for each request. We are trying to write a new line in access log file, which is within our new mounting point. Next, we just need to push our change to main remote and push them to platform remote. Did you guys manage to run previous deploy? Yeah. So you have a running Platform.sh application? No. Oh, that's cool. Maybe somebody has some questions. No. Okay. Now, as we can see, it was deployed, and let's try to open the main page of our project one more time. That's strange. Why it takes so long. Yeah. You can see that it worked. Next thing we're going to do is to SSH to our instance. And its command line interface is the only option to do that. Oh, actually, no. Because you can grab that SSH credentials from web interface from here. but it's much more easier just to run this small command. And let's check mounts here using this command. So we can see we have. Oh, can you see the terminal? We can see this mounting point, and it's 5 gigabytes. It's almost 5 gigabytes. Yeah. And we can check if we have. Yeah, we have an access log file there, and we can check if it has some content. Yeah. So in this case, we added a mounting point which is not accessible through the web at all, because you are not able to download any file from there, or you are unable to upload there anything. And next we are going to add a mounting point which is in web accessible directory, and so it will be a public mounting point. In order to do that, just merge disk mounts public tag. Yeah, let's merge disk mounts public tag. So, and let's see what have been changed. So now we got a new mounting point, which is also local and which is mounted to web uploads directory. But also we have a new record in locations. And this configuration allows you to access, to download all files from this uploads location. Let's try to deploy it. Probably you guys have some questions. So after it's deployed, let's SSH to an instance. Let's check again what we have, and let's create a dummy file in our new uploads folder. And the next step we're going to do is let's download that file. And as you can see, yeah. I'm sorry, yours running.
Currently have my Platform.sh deploying, but it's been 5 minutes. So based on what you are having, and yes, I'm having an issue. So can I cancel the deployment?
There's no way right now to cancel deployments. I asked the same thing, but it's too complicated right now for them to implement it. So they said maybe in the future. So it's stuck on the redeploying part.
It might mean that they have some internal issue, and
yeah, if you wait maybe a few more minutes, it might fix itself. Sometimes if there's a lot of people deploying in the region, then they'll prioritize different deploys. So
otherwise you need to submit a ticket at their support, which was not the part of our workshop. But we can try it.
Usually it just resolves itself in a few minutes. So.
Is it your first deployment now?
It was my second. The first failed, and the next is currently in progress. So
Normally the first successful one will take a little longer than others. I don't know how long.
That's why I was
waiting.
hoping, I guess.
Yeah, they have to create all the different services and everything. So.
It's okay. I will.
There is in the contextual code repository, there is a file with all the code snippets we are running right now. So if you want, you can just follow that code snippets a bit later. But so as you can see, we are now we have a valid Ssl certificate because a new certificate was generated in the background, and we are able to download that text file we created before. So we just added one public and one private mounts, and our application's able to write data to some specific folders. The next part we are going to talk about are services. And this case, so Platform.sh provides a list of different services, and probably the best way to check out available services is to open their documentation. There are services like MySQL, MongoDB, Redis, Solr, and so on. The strange thing is that they don't provide a varnish as a service, and maybe at some point they will have it. But right now, varnish is available only on some enterprise plans. And let's try to add that service to our application and see how it works. Again, in order to do that, instead of typing all the source code changes, we are just going to merge database service tag and talk about the actual changes were made. As you can assume, our services YAML file was updated. So each item in that services YAML file is a service we are going to use. In this case, we added new database service. And each service has a type. In our case, it's MySQL 10.5. So if you want to fire up a Solr or something like that, you just need to specify another service here. Also, not each, by MySQL service uses hard drive storage. So we are saying we are allowing to use 1 GB for this service. And in this case, there are two schemas. So configuration option is service specific, and it's different for different services. But for MySQL service, we are providing two schemas, main and cluster. And also, we are creating endpoints for each schema. Endpoints are very important on Platform.sh because endpoint is the only way you can connect to your service from the application. And the thing with services is that you cannot hard-code service credentials because on each deploy or on at some. So at any deploy, service credentials might be changed. That's why Platform.sh provides special environment variable which contains credentials and for all available services. Another file we changed is main configuration file. First of all, we decreased the storage because our plan provides us 5 GB, but we are going to use 1 GB for a database service. That's why we need to use 1 GB less in our main application storage. And also, we told in our application that we are going to using relationships configuration. We said that we are going to use two endpoints. First one is database main, and it comes from service name, which is database, and then endpoint name, which is main. And second endpoint is database cluster. And let's deploy this change. Oh. Hopefully it will not take too long. We are going to start a new service, but usually it takes 15-20 minutes longer. Maybe somebody has some questions? Nah. Is your deployment still running? If you are having some issues with Platform.sh, the best I'm sorry? As you can see from the deployment output, new database service was fired up. And the thing is that we have that service, but we are not really using that in our application. Anyway, we can connect to our database and run some queries. There are two ways you can do that. First of all, first way is you can. I was talking about special internal environment variable, which Platform.sh uses to store all services credentials. And the easiest way to get its output is to run relations command in command line interface. As you can see in the output, we have to we have database cluster and we have database main. We have two items, and each item has username, host, and password. Also, each access point, I guess I can call it them. Also, it has different configurations like port, IP, and so on. The thing is that if you hardcode this password in your application, you cannot be sure this password will be used all the time for database main service. At some point, it might be changed. So we can get the information about the current password using this relations command. Now we can SSH to our container. And just run. Run MySQL with parameters from this variable. Yeah, and we are connected to MySQL. And we can see that only main database is available here. Another there is some delay. Another way to connect to database is just to use command line interface, and there is command like db SQL. And you need to provide, let's connect to the main. And let's create a table and insert some data there in that table. Here we are. Here we are. Now we need to access this database service inside our application. And to do that, let's merge accessing database service tag. And let's see what's actual, what changed we got. So web index PHP is the only file we changed. And now it's more tricky question. How can we zoom out? I mean, oh, thank you. It was much easier than zoom in. So basically, this code was added to index PHP. These lines, in these lines, we are extracting that platform underscore relationships environment. We're extracting value from that environment variable. We are looking for db-main endpoint, and from that endpoint contains credentials like username, password, port, host, and so on. And we are creating a new PDO connection. And these lines, they are very simple. We are just selecting all the data from table we created before. And let's deploy it. Hopefully. How is your deploy, by the way? And what region you choose for your project? Have you chosen EU or because when you were creating? Usually we are using USA region, and I was thinking that probably it would be a good idea to use USA region because in this time it should be less loaded than EU, and it means that deploys should be faster. Huh? We got one more. And let's reload the front page. Oh. Now we should see some additional output here. We should see the records from the table we created a few moments ago.
It's about time for the coffee break, I think.
Is it? Oh, yeah.
Can we see the message? Still loading.
It's still loading. Yeah. So we just set up a database service. We connect to that service in our application. And the next thing we are going to talk about are hooks. So in few words, the hooks is the only place, is the main place to extend your Platform.sh application where you can install some third-party applications, custom extensions, and so on. Platform.sh provides 3 types of hooks. First one is a build hook, and it's executed when there are no any services and no mounts are available in that hook. The second type of the hooks is deploy hook, and this kind of hooks, so when you're running this hook, you have access to all mounts and to all services, but the thing is that file system is not writable at this point. But when you are running build hook, the file system is writable. The main thing you should know about deploy hooks is that all incoming requests, they are blocked. So your application is unable to serve responses. And that's why you need to make your deploy hooks as fast as much as possible. And the third type of the hooks is post-deploy hook. They are the same like deploy hooks, but the difference is that application is application is able to serve responses. And let's merge build hook tag. So let's implement that hooks in our small application. So here's a new configuration. These lines are, in these lines, we are implementing a new build hook, which will actually download Platform.sh command line interface inside our container. And it will make some changes in main command line interface configuration file. Let's deploy it. Also, it was to say that everything you have in deploy hook will be outputted. Everything in build hook will be added. I mean, output of the build hook will be added to your deploy message. As in this case, you can see there is message. There are some information about the command line interface downloading. So it seems like all the guys who left, they were running a lot of deploys, and that's why they were so slow, because now it's much faster. Let's SSH to our instance and check if command line interface is available. And we can see again that funky part. It means everything's fine. And let's merge deploy hook tag next and have a brief view about how it works. So in our case, we added a new mount, which is cache. So there will be a new cache folder. And on deploy, we are just removing everything from that cache. I mean, during deploy hook. Let's deploy it again to Platform.sh. And so deploy hook output will be not added to this message. Instead, it will be logged in logs file. And we will show the deploy log file right after it will be deployed. Now it's much faster. So we SSH to our instance and let's check var log deploy log. And you can see this line, which means this command was executed. Okay, so we should move a bit faster and talk about the variables. There are a few types of variables on Platform.sh. First type are project variables. That variables are available in all environments. So a good example for that variable would be some third-party library access tokens or something like that. Then there are environment variables, and they are, so that variables, they are visible just in a current environment. So if you're asking what's the correct way to run the redeploy, so changing something in sources and pushing that to main repo is one way, but also there is a redeploy command in command line interface. So you can just run, let's take the risk. I'm not sure it might run for long, but let's initiate a new deploy with redeploy. So if you run this command, you're actually not making any changes, but you're able to rebuild the environment without pushing any changes.
It's relatively new, yeah.
Okay.
I think they added
Because
it.
last time I asked, they told me there is no way around this. We trigger deployment only with git commit, and there is no, but this is something new.
I think it was within the last year. They're really developing a lot more. So if you ask for something, they'll usually add it in pretty fast.
Okay, so there are, sorry, yeah?
Sorry, one more question. Hook, the difference between build and deploy.
The hooks, the difference for the hooks. So the main difference is that during build, the file system is writable. So you can, as we did in our example, you see we actually are downloading command line interface. And the only place you can do that is during the build hook, because in all other places you'll be not able to download anything because the file system will be read-only. So during build, file system is writable, but you don't have any services or you don't have any mounts. But during deploy, you have services, you have mounts, but file system is read-only. And also, I'm not sure if you know, but there are the thing like post-deploy hook. They introduced that relatively.
Exactly. Yes, that one I know. And with every commit and every push, let's say we go through both of them, or no, we just go through deploy?
Go for it.
With a commit, you have to rebuild. So if you change a variable or use that project redeploy CLI command, it'll just do the deploy. But because it uses the git hash to determine whether or not it has to rebuild the environment. So.
Oh, I see.
So yeah.
So you need to make an actual change in your repository to trigger the build hook.
I got it. Okay. Fantastic. And let's say I want to, with every commit, every build, or let's say deploy, I want to have a dump of my skill, for example, somewhere in the board. I just want to make...
When every build, it's impossible to do that because you don't have any services.
Yes, exactly. I got that. But in the deploy.
But the easiest way would be to install, so like we did, to install command line interface tool during the build, and then during deploy you can run. There is platform DB dump, I guess.
Exactly. That one I know. But what about variable? Can I get the name of variable? Like for example, code commit should be the name of my dump, like QJ.
There is a thing like that. You can check out So there is unique build number, and it comes from environment variable. So it's an internal Platform.sh environment variable. So you need to look up for, if you want to get unique commit identifier, you need to check out environment variables. So yeah, we have project variables, we have environment variables, and we also have application variables. Usually things like Symfony environment is the best fit for application variable. And let's merge application variable tag and check the example. Bless you. So in this case, as you can see, these lines were modified, and we are using variables env, and we are defining favorite fruit variable with jackpork value. And in index.php, we are extracting that favorite fruit variable, and we are outputting that. Let's deploy it. Hello. Let's hope it will be as fast as it was before. By the way, is still your deployment running? Yeah. And let's reload our front page. Strange why it's taking so long. It's the first time I've seen the simple pages loading for so long. Yeah, and you can see that here is a new line which outputs that favorite fruit variable. Next type of variables are PHP Specific Variables. Basically, they are environment variables, but with a PHP prefix. Let's merge PHP Variables tag and have a look at PHP Variable Example. So in this case, we added a new location, these lines. So we added new info location, and it opens info PHP. Info PHP is very simple PHP file which just outputs PHP info. But also we added these PHP variables. So we modified time zone and we modified memory limit. Let's deploy it and open our PHP, our info location, and double check if that variables are changed. Do you guys have any questions about the variables, or?
Is there any limitation regarding the PHP variable? Maybe, let's say I want to increase my memory limit.
There is no. So on some projects, on small plans, we increased it even to 2 gigabytes. And there was no any limitation, but there is a limitation. There is one limitation which is undocumented, and you cannot change it. Probably Chris will. Can you please say more about that? Not the integers, but the time, 5 minutes.
Oh, that is. Oh, well, that's not related to.
That it's like an PHP FPM timeout.
Yeah, so it's not directly related to variables, but PHP FPM. It has a timeout of 5 minutes. So web requests cannot run for more than 5 minutes. Obviously you can do things on the command line, like any kind of cron, or on the command line for more than 5 minutes. But web requests can't. So we ran into it when we were uploading videos. We have to chunk the uploads instead of doing one big request.
So it's that PHP FPM timeout is the only variable you cannot really change.
Is there any support reason or something?
I think it's all about Platform.sh architecture, and they wanna save themselves from some long infinite request, which makes sense. So our last changes were successfully deployed, and let's look up for a time zone. So I opened /info page, which opens new info PHP, and as you can see, time zones changed to Europe Zagreb, which is a correct time zone for us right now. And also memory limit should be 256 megabytes. Let's double check that, which is correct. So you can, yeah. And in that way, you can change any PHP configurations. Initially, we were tending to talk about the crons, but seems like we are in a rush. So there is nothing special there is nothing unique or unusual in Platform.sh crons, except the fact you are unable to run them more frequent than once in 5 minutes. So there is no way to run cron job each minute or each 2 minutes. The minimal time interval is 5 minutes, and also you cannot have 2 cron jobs running at the same time. So if there is a cron job running right now and a new crop gen is going to start, then it will be quit. It will be paused till the first one will complete, and then the second one will be resumed. So it's the main points you need to know regarding the cron. So now we are going to talk about Easy Platform Cloud, and if you have some questions about Platform.sh basics, it's a good time to ask them. But if not, we can just switch.
I don't know if it's now or later. Can you just a little bit talk about this Platform.cc from?
Yeah, it will be right after. So it will. I'll try to spend about 20 minutes for Platform Cloud, and then we will switch to Platform.cc. So I'm not going to use virtual, because I'm not used to that virtual box. I'm going to use my local environment. And the main reason why I was using virtual box, because I thought that a lot of people would be follow, and I wanted to have exactly the same environment as all the campers would have. And I guess here I can use command plus. So even if your deployment is still running, it might be a good chance for you to jump in Easy Platform, because it will be separate Platform.sh project. So all of you guys should have checked it out. So all of you guys should have forked Easy Platform repository and have checked that out at your local. And also all of you received credentials for Easy Platform Cloud account. Basically, it looks like styled version of Platform.sh. And let's The main difference between this Easy Platform Cloud account and the free one account we've been using in the first part is that this is a production account, and it means that you have access to domains and you are able to manage the domains. Let's add our SSH key. And again, let's copy URL for Platform.sh Git repo by clicking this small icon. So now we should have two Git remotes in our local repository. It's origin, which points to your personal Easy Platform fork, and it's platform, which points to Easy Platform Cloud. Except this, let's add contextual code repository just to be able to merge the commits as we did before. And let's fetch the tags. Let's double check if we have free remotes. Yeah, as you can see, we have contextual code remote, we have origin remote, and we have platform remote. So let's run our first commit. Actually, our first push. We are going to push local master branch, which points to origin master, to platform remote. And in this case, it will take some time. It will take about 2 or 3 minutes because we are pushing Easy Platform to Platform.sh first time. And there are some build and deploy hooks. For example, all the data will be inserted to the database. While it's going on, let's have a look at Platform.sh configurations which are used in Easy Platform Cloud. Let's open. Sorry, just give me a second. I'm going to use Atom in this case, my local. So you were asking about missing Easy Platform files. In this case, we have them. But the main thing we are going to point attention to is our Platform.sh configuration files. So we are familiar with name, and Easy made the wise decision and decided to use default app name. We can see that our Platform.sh instance type is PHP and the version is 7.2. We skipped the build flavor, and basically build flavor allows you to run composer install command. But the thing is that if you are using build flavor, it's run before it's running before build hook, and you don't have any services at that point. And in Easy Platform, one of the so when composer install is running, we are trying to clear caches and so on, but it's impossible to do using build flavor because we don't have access to database at this stage. We can see that there are two relationships. First one is database. It's very similar to what we did in Platform.sh Basics workshop. And second one is Redis cache. We will have a look at services configuration just in a moment. Here you can see some variables, and it's application level variable we've been talking before. So it's Symfony environment variable with prod value. Here is location, web location, which is very simple. It points to app.php file inside web folder. And here are some mounts. Also, we have build hooks, deployed hooks, and post-deploy hooks. We have some crons. The thing we were talking about is that you cannot run crons more frequently than once in a 5 minute. But according to this cron setup, easy tries to run cron once in a minute, and which actually is impossible. And here are some runtime extensions. Runtime PHP extensions, we are going to cover them in a few minutes. So another file we are going to have a look is the services. As you can see, here we have two services, database service and Redis cache service. The Redis cache service is kind of unique because it doesn't use any disk space. And also we have configurations for us. I'm sorry, I'm not sure if you can see it. So there are configurations for us. It's still hard to see, but you can open services YAML file on your local. And the point is that there are configurations for a Ssl service, but Easy is not using it. So Ssl service is disabled. And as we were talking to Amir, basic Platform.sh plan has limitation in two services. It means that you are unable to use more than two services. So if you are using a service for database and a cache, you need to upgrade your Platform.sh plan to be able to use additional services. And the last Platform.sh configuration file is routes YAML, which is pretty default. It's the same we had in our Platform.sh basics workshop. Do you guys understand that configuration files from Easy Platform repository? Do you have any questions about that? No?
Just something small to mention with Solar is a bit different than other services. We have to put a folder of those config files,
it's about the configurations for Solar. But the thing is that you can find all the details on Platform.sh documentation page. So you need to create some additional configuration files for a Solar, but Platform.sh documentation covers it. So we just got deployed our Easy Platform cloud, and we can open it. Again, it will, so it was very fast. You can check if we can open an admin, and yeah, we can open it. Were anybody able to deploy that, or? And what internal error you're getting? And what the internal error says for you? Probably you just need to change your seeds because all the Platform.sh related errors come from there. And probably it says that deployment succeeded?
That's a good thing.
Probably you got an error about the cron jobs. Can you show?
I think it just delays the crons every 5 minutes.
Yeah, but there is an error. Can you please show what the error you got? You can just Can you open here this small?
That was your, then it succeeded. First it failed, and then it looked like it succeeded because it says okay.
So, and when you are trying to open the main page, you got.
No.
It would be a good idea. And the one thing we haven't mentioned that if you are using a web interface, you can easily check out output for each deployment by clicking this small success or error if you are unlucky link. And you can get output for the deploy. Oof. Yeah, so we have up and running Easy Platform Cloud. Basically, Easy Platform Cloud is easy platform which runs on Platform.sh. So it's very easy to understand. The main thing we were a bit worried when we decided to move all our projects to Platform.sh. The main thing was PHP extensions, because we thought that, okay, Platform.sh seems pretty flexible, it seems pretty nice, but we thought that it's not so easy to enable or disable some custom PHP extensions, which is not true, because it's extremely easy to do that, and we are going to show you how can you do that. So first tag we are going to merge is PHP info. Basically, it adds a new location, info, and it creates a new info PHP file. We had something similar for Platform.sh workshop. Then we are going to merge enable xdebug, bless you, enable xdebug tag. And as you can see, the only line changed is, it should be readable for you guys, right? Yeah, you can see that fine. So this is the only line changed. Because Platform.sh comes with a lot of available extension and PHP extensions, and in order to enable them, you just need to add one configuration to runtime extensions section. You can find out more about available PHP extensions in the documentation. And also it says in which PHP versions what extensions are enabled by default. So in this case, we enabled an extension which was disabled before because xdebug is disabled by default. But let's try to disable some extension which is enabled by default. And in order to do that, just merge disable zip tag. So as you can see, a new configuration option, disabled extensions were added, and the zip extension was added there. So let's actually run deploy and see if that PHP extensions are enabled and disabled. This time it shouldn't be a matter of seconds, but not minutes. But still, if anybody of you guys has questions, it would be nice to ask them so we can fill this void. No? Yes, please.
How many projects have in production,
We have we have about 30 projects. And some of them are on small Platform.sh plans, and some of them are on medium or even large Platform.sh plans.
What is the traffic average? How many page views per month?
I'm pretty sure one of our projects has millions page views per month, so it's not something very crazy. And we are hosting that project on medium plan, so we even don't use a large plan for that project.
How many does it cost to run medium-sized plan?
Medium, so you can find more about the rates on the Platform.sh side, but if I'm not wrong, it's around $135. But then if you need to get an extra additional storage, it costs about 15. I'm not sure if the rates are the same for states, but it's something like that. It might be $15 for states or.
Yes, you shouldn't forget that for every master branch you have, you get at least 3 environments. So that 5 gigabyte will be on 3 environments.
Yeah, and we are going to talk a bit more about the environments. So our change was deployed, and let's try to open info page, and we should be able to xdebug. Yeah, so here is xdebug, and if we'll look for zip, there is no zip extension enabled. So that's fine. That's very easy to enable any pre-built extension. But what you are going to do if you are going to install some custom extension. We planned to show you how to build from the scratch custom xdebug extension. But I'm afraid we are going to skip that because it will take some time. And in few words, you need to follow 5 steps. And you can find these steps in the repository we shared before. First step, you need to SSH to instance. You need to download extension sources there. You need to extract the unzip sources. Then you need to make an extension. Build an extension right on the instance. And then you need to download the build extension from the instance. And you need to add that to the repository. So in our case, we will just merge this. We will merge enable custom xdebug tag. And the things changed. So the changed files are xdebug. So, which is an PHP extension file, and we get that extension file following these first 4 steps. And you don't have any other options, but just believe me that we really got that file following that steps. And another changed file is PHP ini. We added that file to the root folder of the repository, and it contains this simple line. So in our case, we were building xdebug 2.6.1 version because default, pre-built version xdebug is 260. And let's revert the changes we did before with just pre-built extensions. So it's already there. So as you can see, there is no Xdebug extension here anymore in runtime extensions, but there is a custom Xdebug extension, and we are going to push that. Do you guys have any questions? While it's deploying, we need to say a few words about the environments, because environments are very, very cool, and it's one of the key features in easy platform cloud. So you can create an environment just in one click, and we just need to wait till the previous deploy will finish, and we'll show you how to do that. And again, to create a new environment, you can use web interface or you can use command line interface. It doesn't really matter because it's just two different ways of doing the same thing. So let's make things simple and let's create new staging environment using web interface. So deployment should be completed in a moment. Here we are. In order to create an environment, you need to press this branch button. We just need to say that environments in scope of Easy Platform Cloud consist of actual runtime environment and a Git branch. So let's call it staging. And I'm pretty sure it will be done in about 10-15 seconds. And you need to understand that each environment is completely separate from the master environment. For example, if you modify content on staging environment, that will have no any impact on the master environment. If you remove some binary files from mounts on staging environments, that files still will be unremoved, untouched on master environment. And Amir were absolutely correct. The basic plan allows you to have 3 additional environments. But if I'm not wrong, the more advanced plans have a higher limits for environments. So
you can add them by paying €10 for every train. Right?
Oh yeah, or you can pay separately for environment.
We have a small and 12 environments because the QA want to test different, right?
Really? Yeah, that's cool. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm waiting. So the staging environment was already done, and here you can see that new sets of URLs were generated for a staging environment. And the thing is, there is no way at all you can change staging environments. We came up with a solution, which is a bit tricky, because the thing is that we are using Nginx proxy. So you need to have an additional small utility server, and in that case, you can set up custom domains for non-master or non-production environments. And we had a simple blog post which explains that. So our environment was created. Let's try open admin interface. And let's make some edits on staging. We don't have a lot of content here, but at least we have a root node. So if you open staging front end, you will notice that there are some changes. But in the same time, if you open a production or master environment in front end, you will see that that change was not reflected there. No. While it's loading, oh yeah, so you can see that the name field is the same as it was before. Also, Easy Platform Cloud allows you to sync the code and the data just in one click. So we made some changes on staging, and we can press this sync button. In this case, we are not going to sync a code. We just need to sync data and files. So after we press this button, current environment will be synced from its parent. In this case, parent environment for staging is master. And basically, it will sync all the services and all the mounts. The one thing we haven't said about is that when you are creating a new environment, that environment is created in your platform, Easy Platform Cloud repository. But that environment is not being created in your main project repository. So it depends on your development flow, but it might be a good idea to push that new staging branch to our origin remote. Just keep up to date the branches in main repository and platform repository. So usually sync doesn't take for a long time, and it's already done. So if we'll go to admin. Now we are trying to open admin on staging, and we want to double check if our edits disappeared, because they need to disappear, because we just synced master data with staging and we had no that edits on master environment. Right now, we can see that staging thing, but it comes from cache. Yeah. So when we actually try to edit the object, we can see that there is no that staging word. Okay. So next thing we would like to talk about are domains. So if you remember, we were checking the domains configuration for Platform.sh workshop, and this tab was disabled. Here, Easy Platform provided us basic accounts, and so this tab is available, and you are able to add some custom domains. In our case, we will add a few domains. So the flow for adding a new domain is very simple. You just need to point your domain to a Platform.sh instance, and the best thing to do that is to run this command. not this, but this. And again, you need to use command line interface, because you are not really able to. Yeah, just 5 more minutes. And so it's strange, but the thing is that I use multiple accounts on my machine, and I just need to run SSH add new. I created a new key. No. Oh, I guess I just. No, I just need to add that key. That's strange, because I was adding that key. At least I will show you how to manage your keys on Easy Platform Cloud, but there is nothing special about that. And yeah, the thing is that this key already is in use, so we're going to skip this. But it's very important to say that you are unable to use the same key for multiple accounts. So if you added your SSH key to some account on Platform.sh, you'll be not able to use that key on any other account. So basically, we're just going to talk through. You need to point your domain to Platform.sh, and you need to use CNAME for that. Then you need to add that domain in Domains tab. I have so many. Which is here. And with domains, it's the same like with keys. If any domain is used on any Platform.sh project, you will be not able to add the same domain for any other projects. And then you just need to change your routes file. I'm just going to show you the changes. So if we are going to add this domain, our routes file should look like this, at least the simplest version of the routes file. The one thing I am going to talk about briefly is that when you have multiple site accesses in your project and you are using a host matcher for that site accesses, then you get troubles with getting correct site access on, for example, staging environment. Because on staging environment, Platform.sh generates some, not random, they are logical, but some URLs you cannot control. So for example, if you point admin.something to admin site access, then you will create a staging environment. In staging environment, it will be admin-something-something-something. And when you'll open that URL, you will get default site access. In order to fix that, we made Platform.sh site access matcher bundle. And it's very easy. It's extremely easy to install that. So just enable that on any non-production or master environments,
And this problem will be fixed for you. And now Chris is going to talk about the Platform.sh, right? Yeah.
How does this work? I don't have to use it. I won't do that. Hi guys. So when we switched to Platform.sh, it saved us a lot of time because we don't have to maintain servers as much anymore. Oh, also I want to say I'm going to let us out a few minutes early so we can all make it over to the goodbye talk. So yeah, it solved a lot of our problems, but it also gave one big problem, which is developing, like local development became a little confusing because, not confusing, but a little involved because you have to set up your own web server, you have to set up all the services yourself if you're going to do that, which is what most of us probably do anyway, but it just gets a little heavy. And so we figured we could probably make a tool that solves that problem. So we made Platform.cc, which is, oh yeah, the virtual machine. So we made Platform.cc, which is, it's in Python. Did that work? Okay. It's in Python, and it basically mimics Platform.sh's setup using Docker containers. So it's a tool that automatically provisions Docker containers for you based on your Platform.sh configuration files, so that you don't really have to do any work, is the idea. Because sometimes laziness is good. And so, let me pull this up. So I have a repo with an easy platform install here. It's like the same one, but different because I added, oh, I didn't add anything because you don't need to add anything. It uses the platform app.yaml file. So we have a command line tool called Platform.cc. It's Python, so it's really easy to install. You just use pip, and you can run it like this. Scrolling's not working, okay. And here you can run Platform.cc list to see the different commands. So basically to start a project, all you have to do is Platform.cc project start. It'll read your platform.app.yaml configuration in provision, database, a router, all of that. There it goes. So I'm skipping the install because we're kind of running low on time, but I have a repo I'll send to everyone, and it has very clear instructions. It's probably 3 lines to install and then 3 lines to do this. But the first time you run it, it will take longer than this because it has to make all the Docker containers, and you have to run Composer, etc., and install the extensions.
You can do it also on Mac, right?
Yeah, there's Mac. There's one extra step for Mac. You have performance related. You have to install some Docker for Mac tool, but that's also in the repo I'll send to you guys. So it's almost done. So when this is finished, I won't have to run it because I've already run it once, but if this was your first time installing it, you would run one other command to deploy the application, which mimics Platform.sh's deploy process. And then I'll show you, you can see in the browser. And this has commands, Platform.cc has commands to access the database. You can shell into the Docker container. It has a lot of utility commands, so it's easy to run. And so basically, if you want to do local development, you can just clone your project, run this command on it, and then you'll have a whole working app. We've been using this for about 6 months now. It's still in, I wouldn't say heavy development because it's stabilized. I think it's version 2 now, we're calling it, but we're still adding new features, etc. So. I think there's one more extension. I think your laptop is, if it was plugged in, it might be faster. But no, it's fine. It's almost done. No. Okay, yeah. I am so sorry. So this is actually, yeah, this is why it's taking so long, is because I ran it on the clean install. So I'm going to cancel this. I have an install already set up here. Okay, I'm so sorry. But that's what it would look like if you're running it for the first time. So I have a demo installed. This is the one that I've already ran it on. So this should be much faster because it doesn't have to install all the extensions and make all the Docker containers, etc. So yeah, there it goes. It made the Nginx configuration. It generates some routes. So that's an automatic ID it gave us. If we had actual domains on this project, because right now the domains or the routes and domains are just default here. So it gave us an ID. But if we had actual domains, it would map actual domains that we can use. So I'm going to open this in our browser. So I also added that domain to our host file to point at the domain it generated for us to localhost. And that is all you need. And was it 1x? 13x. There's a delay. Okay. I need to restart it. I'm sorry. That's just because I was messing with it earlier and I need to restart it, but so no environments, but you can just clone if you want different branches, you mean?
Yes, exactly.
You can just check out the different branch to switch from stage to master. If you want two running at the same time, you would different directories. And yeah, that's how we do it. And so it created some Docker containers here. The output is kind of wonky, but you can see it made an app container for all of our easy platform code. We have a database, we have a Redis, and then there's a router which handles all the requests. So if you have multiple projects, which you probably do because this saves you a lot of time if you have many projects, the router will handle the requests and point it to the right project. So yeah, so here you can see this is the easy platform install. So yeah, in the repo there's just a few commands. All you have to do is run project start, and then you would run this command, which does the actual building of everything. It mimics Platform SH's. Let's see. Oh, right. So, for example, this shows the roots it created. We can go into the container itself. So this is as if you ran Platform SSH, if it was actually hosted on Platform SSH. So here we have the actual container. We can get into the database like this. And so obviously, so to set up, you just need to import your database. So that is done with this easy demo install. It did it automatically because there's a demo command. Not that list. Yeah. Yes. So there's that, and then there's you can SSH, or you can get into each of the Docker containers for each of the services too if you need to work with one of them directly. And that's it. Yeah. So we support variables. We're trying to support everything that Platform.sh has. So we have variables that act similarly. We have dump commands, import commands. And I think that's it. Yeah, so I'll send the link to everyone. You can try it out. It works on Mac because we have 2 developers who use Mac, so we had to support it, yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah. Okay.
Are you guys aware of Easy Launchpad?
I'm sorry?
Aware of Easy Launchpad?
We had a look about a year at that, but at that point it was not. So this Platform CC tool, it extracts, basically you provide repository which contains Platform.sh configuration files, and it builds a local development based on that files. When we've been looking at Launchpad, it hasn't had that abilities. Probably it's changed in the last year. Yeah.
Is the Launchpad is vice versa? You have your Docker environment and stuff, and when you are done, you can just run a command, and it produces for you the Platform.sh all necessary files according to your development.
Yeah.
And there's also Lando. Have you heard of Lando? It's called Lando. It's a service like Platform.cc, but it has its own special configuration files. So if you had many projects, you would have to make double the amount of configuration files, which we didn't like, basically. That is the main reason why we made this. Because we just wanted to take all of our code from Platform.sh and just make a development environment.
How do you spell it?
Lando, it's Lando. And it has some things we weren't too happy with, which is why we made this. So. Yeah. So if no one has any questions, I think we can go to the final goodbye speech. Cool.
Because I think we need to be there at 5, right? There's 5. Yeah. So we are ready to go. We're done.
Thanks.